Jewishnews TV. Making news this week, the Greens International Secretary has denied the party is drafting a new policy on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Media reports have suggested they're planning to back a one-state solution, but Elliot Gingold said he can't see the policy changing anytime soon. At the moment, the Greens support the Palestinian people's right to self-determination in a state alongside the State of Israel. In other news, Brian Sherman has stepped down from his position as president of the Australian Museum Trust after 9 years and has taken on a prestigious new role. The philanthropist and supporter of the arts will join the Public and Scientific Council of the Natural History Museum in Tel Aviv. The museum will be the first of its kind in the Middle East. Meanwhile, over the past few weeks, we've seen a succession of incidents where political activists have come under fire for invoking Hitler or Nazism as metaphors for rival politicians or their policies. Among them, Malcolm Turnbull's political strategist and a Western Australian backbencher. But is Hitler always off limits as a political metaphor? Here's AJN editor, Zeddy Lawrence.
Thanks, Lexi. Well, viewers may remember the classic Mel Brooks film To Be or Not to Be. The question is, should it have been called Taboo or Not Taboo? It seems that while the Nazi leader is ripe for mockery, remember Chaplin's The Great Dictator or Brooks's Springtime for Hitler, as a point of reference in political debate, the Nazi leader is completely off limits. Why? Well, according to one linguistics expert that we spoke to, the name is now more than just a name. It's a symbol synonymous with the most extreme evil and anti-Semitism, and therefore can't be on a par with the likes of Napoleon, for example, or Genghis Khan. Bernard Korbman, meanwhile, of the Jewish Holocaust Centre, told us it's not just any throwaway adjective, it's a reopening of wounds, particularly with so many survivors still alive. That's not to say that as time passes, so will sensitivities. As B'nai B'rith's Courage to Care chairman Andrew Haver says, Hitler was the greatest master of extermination in history, and that must never be forgotten. Back to you, Lexi.
Thanks, Eddie. In other news, an author with the mission to make sure the atrocities of World War II aren't forgotten has been recognised for her literary efforts. Child survivor Diane Armstrong received the Society of Women Writers Biennial Award for Fiction for her novel Nocturne, a tribute to people who suffered during the Holocaust. Armstrong said it was fitting that she received the accolade on the anniversary of Kristallnacht. Now to film news. Israeli film Eyes Wide Open screened in Sydney and Melbourne last week as part of the Festival of Jewish Cinema. Here's Chantal Abbott-Ball with more.
Thank you, Lexi. No doubt some will find elements of Chaim Tabakman's debut feature film Eyes Wide Open a bit confronting, but the controversial film about homosexual forbidden love in Jerusalem's ultra-Orthodox community is a charged and well-executed drama.
יש לי משפחה, יש לי אישה, יש לי ילדים. יש רק אותך. מה כל כך קשה לך פשוט להגיד לו שילך? הייתי מת. עכשיו אני חי.
It's a sad and searing journey that ultimately comes to an uneasy resolution, but it is a story that will no doubt provoke thought and welcome discussion. Chantal Abbott-Ball, Jewishnews TV. Back to you, Lexi.
Thanks, Chantal. We now cross to David Weiner for the sports headlines.
Thanks, Lexi. Yuri Foreman made history in Las Vegas last Saturday night when he became the first Israeli boxer to win a major world title. The 29-year-old took out the World Boxing Association's super welterweight crown over 12 rounds against Puerto Rican Daniel Santos, causing a major ball-over against his more experienced opponent. And would you believe it, he's also in the middle of his religious studies as he plans to become a rabbi. In local Sydney news, 19-year-old Joshua Gerson earned a second spot at the Australian National Bodybuilding Championships. I'm sure he'll be out in force on the beaches this summer. They're the sports headlines. Back to you, Lexi.
Thanks, David. Coming up next week, we have an in-depth interview with the Coen brothers on their latest flick, The Serious Man. For all these stories and more, check out the Australian Jewish News, available every Thursday from your local newsagent. And log on to jewishnews.net.au for all the latest in news and views in the Jewish world. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lexi Landsman, and this is Jewishnews TV.